This is Autism to Awesome, and we train the world to be first to respond. Hello, my name is Kerry Brooks, and I'm the founder and president of Autism to Awesome, and I want to show you how you can allow your greatest crisis to become your greatest miracle. About a week or so ago, I told you I wanted to share a message with you on what you can do about how you can allow your greatest crisis to become your greatest miracle. You see, in 2002 and early 2003, we faced a great crisis. Our son was diagnosed with autism. The doctor at the time told us to give up on him, prepare him for a group home, and focus on having other children. We defied the doctor's order. We didn't listen to him. In fact, I fired him because with advice like that, I didn't need him in my camp. In 2019, June of 2019, our son graduated with honor from high school, applied to a university, got accepted, even earned a scholarship. So guess what? I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. Right now, we're going through a pandemic. We're going through some really, really tough times, but I want to help you. I detail all this in my book that's coming out in July, but I feel like right now, this is urgent. This is urgent. Whatever I can do to share with you, to help you get through your crisis, I want to do that. I really want to do that. So let's get started. How do we go about allowing our greatest crisis to become our greatest miracle? First of all, what is a crisis? Right here, what is a crisis? You know what? When you look at the definition of a crisis, it talks about any event that leads to an unstable or a dangerous situation that can affect an individual, it can affect a group, it can affect the community, or it can affect, the whole society. And right now, we have a crisis that is definitely affecting the entire society. And I'm talking about the coronavirus. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's affecting all of us in some shape, form, or fashion. You know someone who's been diagnosed. You've seen on the news how many people are being infected by it. And these are scary times, but they don't have to be. There's something that we can do about it as well. So what are some examples of a crisis? You know what? For us, our son was diagnosed with autism. That was our greatest crisis at that particular time. That was a dangerous and unstable situation for us. No one could tell us exactly what caused autism. They still can't do it to this day. They couldn't tell us how to go about having early intervention. We're talking in 2003, so people still learning, more about it. So we were like, hey, what are we going to do? And then, like I say, our doctor at that particular time said, hey, there's nothing you can do. Prepare your child for a group home. He's 2 years old, going on 3 years old. Really? You want me to give up on him like that? No, I can't do that. Divorce. That's another example of a crisis. Many times people go through a divorce. It all has to do with change. Financial hardship. 2008, that was a financial crisis, in the United States and other parts of the world also, where people lost their homes, people lost their jobs, and they lost their life savings. It was a hardship. It was a tough time. Medical diagnosis. The medical diagnosis for us was our son with autism. But it may be a personal medical diagnosis with yourself, with your spouse, with a parent. Our parents are getting up in age as we are getting up in age as well. So it could be a medical diagnosis. And today, the greatest crisis that we're facing right now, it's a pandemic, the coronavirus. That's what we're facing right here and right now. Everyone on the planet, I believe, has heard of it on the news, from a friend, somebody. They've heard what's going on is a pandemic, it's the coronavirus. These are some challenging times, but there are things that we can do about it. What's some of the feelings that you may experience during a crisis? I tell you, for one, isolation. In 2003, people didn't really want to talk about autism. You take your kid out, they have a meltdown, and everyone think, oh, they must be bad parents. The kid just having a meltdown, they don't know how to control them. Isolation. You don't get invited to birthday parties. No one want to invite you to come up to the birthday party because your kid is not the cool kid. He's not the typical kid. So isolation. So you're at home, you're running from doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment, and your kid don't really get to have a childhood. But guess what though? That's some of the stuff that we face even now during this pandemic, during this crisis, isolation, because one of the things that they're talking about is social distancing. How do you go about, minimizing coming in contact with someone who may be infected and not even know it? So isolation, people now are having to stay home, maybe not go out in the crowds as they used to. They're a social butterfly, and this can be daunting for some people. You also have stress. You got more than one thing coming at you one time. During this pandemic, People are losing their jobs. So that brings on a financial crisis, uncertainty. You know, you go through some anxiety, maybe some even depression. And it's like all these emotions are just coming at you at one time. And it's an experience that we haven't experienced during our lifetime. Loss of control. You know, when people tell you, hey, you have an order from government official that, you know, you need to stay home in order to protect yourself and the whole of society, you have a sense that's a loss of control. I can't do what I used to do. And that's the thing about it. Even when we were going through our crisis with our son, we couldn't do what we used to do. We had to find a way. How could we go about helping our child so he could reach his highest potential? So, and that's what we focus on at that particular time. But these are some of the things you may go through. And one of the big ones right here is the inability to adapt to change. The inability to adapt to change. The pandemic of the coronavirus has brought about change for us. And it will be a day that I think most of us will remember, because it will change the way that we do things. It will change the way that we go about things. But I believe if we go about changing the way we think, we can make a huge difference in society. If we go about changing our thought, this is not just about me, it's not just about you, it's about everyone. And we have to change the way we think about the crisis that we're experiencing right now. Because believe it or not, we're in this together. If we can change our thoughts, we can change our outcome. I really believe that, because when our family was going through our crisis regarding autism, we had one way of thinking when we went into it. But as we continue to travel through that journey on the road of autism, we started thinking a different way. And we started seeing ways that we could help our child, the ways that we could help our family, because everyone was affected by him being diagnosed with autism. We had to change our thought process in order to get him where he is today. And that's exactly what we did. Imagination. Albert Einstein said, you know, your imagination is a preview to the common attraction in your life. What are you thinking about today during this pandemic? Are you thinking about fear? Or are you thinking about how can you go about not only helping yourself, but also helping others? Your imagination. We use our imagination to help our son reach his highest potential. He's on solid ground right now to being a very productive young man. He's accomplished so much since the time that he was diagnosed with autism, and he will continue to grow and continue to go and learn more and more and continue to help people as well. So I believe we use our imagination. We can come together as one and work together and make this, and we can learn more about ourselves. We can come out of this crisis better than we went into it. This is an opportunity for us to learn. And I believe once we change our thoughts, once we use our imagination, then we have to put in the practical part of changing our behavior. We have to change our behavior in order to come through this crisis. You know, I heard a speaker say one time, it's insanity, you know, to believe that, you know, you do the same thing over and over, but you expect different results. It's insane. And so we're in a crisis right now. We need to change our thought, change our imagination, and put in the practicality part of changing our behavior. That's how we were able to help our son reach his highest potential. And that's how we're going to be able to change the world, one person, one community, one city, one state at a time. And I believe once we do that, once we do those things, that creates opportunity. And having opportunity in life, that's what you want. You want to have opportunity. You want your kids to have opportunity. You want your city and your community to have opportunity. We have opportunity, we can create miracles. We can create miracles when we have opportunity. But we have to put the work in. We have to put the work in. And the way you put the work in by allowing your greatest crisis to become your greatest miracle, you have to be first to respond. It's your responsibility. You have to be first to respond. So I want to share these few tips with you and talk to you about some of the things that we did when our son and us as a family were going through our greatest crisis, because we're right here today. And send me your question at support@autismtoawesome.com, and we can discuss and talk about what you want to talk about. Right now, I'm sitting here in Guayaquil, Ecuador. All the flights have been canceled, international flights, domestic flights. They've been canceled like the last 4 weeks. We have a curfew at 2 o'clock. We have changed our behavior, so we're doing the social distancing. We're keeping away from other people. And it's like, hey, we the way we're thinking about this right now is like, listen, not only are we trying to help ourselves, but what can we do for someone else who may not be as financially stable as you are? What can we do about somebody else who may seem overwhelmed, who may seem more stressful than you are at this particular time? Some people have been through a crisis before, so they can handle it much better than other people. But I believe as a team, we can get through this thing together. This is an opportunity for us to learn. I didn't want to go through the journey of autism. I didn't want that. That's the last thing I wanted for my child. But coming out of it, I learned so much. I learned so much about how to help him. I wanted to teach him so much, but he taught me so much more. The whole process taught me so much more about what I can do for others, not just for myself. So that's why I tell you now that I'm sitting here. I want to share this with you because I believe that it's urgent that we share information on what are you doing to allow your greatest Christ to become your greatest miracle. Send that to me and I'll share it in the next video. What are you doing day by day to allow your greatest crisis to become your greatest miracle? And what are you doing to change? How are you changing your thought process during this pandemic? What are your imaginations? What are you thinking about? What are you imagining? Are you imagining fear? Are you imagining there's not going to be enough toilet paper? What are you imagining? What are you imagining? Where's your imagination taking you? Or are you thinking about a better tomorrow that, hey, we're going to get through this? Maybe they will discover a vaccination, or maybe social distancing will work. The things that they have in place that they're pressing upon us to do. What's your imagination? And are you changing your behavior to create opportunity? Not only opportunity for yourself. And I know some people saying, hey, I don't have to stay home. But what about for your children? What about for your grandchildren? What about for everyone else who's also a part of this? We are part of this together. We're in it together, whether we like it or not. And when you look at it, maybe it's our behavior that has gotten us to this point. But we have an opportunity to learn from this. We have an opportunity to grow from this. I'm not going to get on the tangent. I know it's probably too late. I already have. But anyway, you get the point. So listen, I want to encourage you to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and go to my YouTube channel as well. All of us on the Autism to Awesome. And send me your question in. I'll post this. You can make comments on it or whatever. But give me some positive comment. Let me know what you're doing. Give me some positive feedback. All this is brainstorming. All this is like, what can we do to help each other? And so I want to hear from you. What are you doing today, or what did you do yesterday to make a better place in your home, a better place in your community? I believe it can be done. I've seen it, I've experienced it, and I believe that we can do it on a worldwide basis, one person at a time, one idea at a time. So I want to encourage each and every one of you, listen, take a time to grab your journal, piece of paper or something, and write down something that you're grateful for. Let's focus on the thing that we are grateful for. Once we focus on the miracles that we already have, we tend to produce more miracles. So grab a piece of paper, grab a journal, write down something that you're grateful for, and include the entire family, include the children, include everyone. Have a grateful day, because there's so much to be grateful for. Listen, I want to thank you for giving me some of your time. I appreciate it. And like I say, thank you for everything that you're doing. This is Autism to Awesome, and we train the world to be first to respond.